In this video, we're going to be talking about the Airbnb IPO and what that means for hosts like you, so stay tuned. Vacation Rental Machine helps hosts just like you learn how to start, grow, and scale your short-term rental business. This show is all about creating systems that help you automate your business, giving you more time and money freedom. If you're ready to start living the vacation rental life, then subscribe to this podcast today. Come and join us on our Facebook group, The Host Nation, where we'll be talking about starting, automating, and scaling a short-term rental business. Now, on to the show. Hey, welcome back, Host Nation, to another episode of Vacation Rental Machine. I'm Julian Sage with John Bell, and today we're going to be talking about Airbnb's IPO and all things about it. As a host, should you be worried about any changes that may happen? Is it a good time to be investing into Airbnb with everything that's going on? And things that you should consider if you received a notification from Airbnb saying that you can invest in their pre-IPO. Just a quick disclaimer, this is not any financial advice. We are just active hosts in the community talking about our thoughts on this IPO. So John, did you receive this email invitation from Airbnb in regards to their pre-IPO?
I did, and I was excited to receive it. It actually means a couple of different things just across the board, but overall, I'm very excited to receive the invite. I filled out all the forms. I'm just waiting for the next steps, and hopefully I'm picked. Now, for those of you that don't know what an IPO is, that is the initial public offering of a company that is now going public. So, for instance, every stock on the stock market had to initially put up an IPO, which means that they are intending to go public and raise some extra capital, and they have a start price that they think that everybody will start to invest. And those people that actually get in on the IPO are the first people to actually hold the stock. And then once it's public, everybody else is then able to kind of get in and invest into the stock, which normally, in most cases, drives the stock price up to a significant number for those initial days that it's starting out. So this might be a good time for us hosts to actually capitalize on Airbnb going public and recouping some of the money that we actually lost doing the first wave of COVID. Just being able to invest in the company if we get that invite and follow on through to raise some of that money that we lost back.
You know, it seems like a pretty curious time right now, John, with Airbnb doing an IPO amidst all of this stuff. You'd think that you'd want to release the company to the public when, you know, maybe things are a little bit better, people are more optimistic, but there's been a lot of negative sentiment from the hosting community, as well as just the general public as far as, you know, just traveling and being able to stay in properties, having maybe issues with refunds. So why do you think that Airbnb is doing this right now?
You know, without getting too technical or diving too much into stocks, I am an avid investor and I do just invest in the stock market in general. But Airbnb has seemed to be the only company, as far as hospitality goes, that was able to kind of grow in this last third quarter. So if we really look back, they started in a crisis. So they have just the skills and the know how to kind of go through this crisis period technically better than Marriott and Hilton and things like that. So I think it's really a good opportunity for them to kind of go on and release the IPO. At the same time, it's just like almost perfect timing that we're already talking about a vaccine and that kind of coming in right around spring for everybody. So that really could mean a big upswing in things that people just traveling and kind of getting back out there.
So John, what do you think that this means for the hosting community? People that are building their whole lives and businesses around short-term rentals, and Airbnb playing definitely a significant portion in people's investments. How do you believe that this is going to affect hosts?
Well, I think that this will lead to Airbnb standardizing a bunch of things similar to other platforms that are already public, like Booking.com and Expedia. That does mean that there's going to be some hosting changes. And with those hosting changes, we're probably talking about service fees and who pays them. And we've started seeing remnants of this over the last year or so when first Airbnb started this beta program where you could switch and pay all the fees yourself. And now they almost kind of want to force you to go ahead and just pay the fees all on yourself, which will just be in line with everybody else. Everybody else does almost that exact same thing. So there'll be some standardization there, but there also might be some rules and regulation changes just with the type of guests that we allow back in. So we remember that Airbnb started talking about not allowing people 25 and under to book a place. We should look for more things like that. So Airbnb is going to have to clean up their public reputation of, hey, we're not the party place. We don't host just bad people. That stuff should really start to come out as this thing goes public and as we kind of continue on. Investors, people that actually control the stock, and people will want to look for stuff like that and mandate that they put in the corrective changes to change that image.
With Airbnb going public, do you think that that means that more people are going to be more inclined to use Airbnb, or that this is going to become more general knowledge? I know a lot of people are already referring to short-term rentals as Airbnbs, but do you think that Airbnb being listed and being a public company now is going to affect how people travel or use Airbnb?
Potentially, it does bring exposure to a crowd that might necessarily only use HomeAway. Just because the older crowd, the investors that might be already active investors into the market, if people invest, those type of people invest in Airbnb, they're going to want to use and kind of fund their investment in the company. So if I go out and I invest, $3,000 in an Airbnb, well, I'm somewhat vested in its growth, which means my travel pattern might change from, hey, I'm not going to book at a Marriott, I'm going to book at an Airbnb at this time because I want to fuel my investment. So that could be a good thing. We could see a lot more people come in that are brand new. Now, some of us don't necessarily like new people to the platform and allowing those reservations, but people like me, that I like that because it shows that Airbnb is doing their job in grabbing more people in. So that's why I think this could be a good thing for allowing new potential guests.
I think the big thing to maybe remember is that when you go public, people are going to be talking a lot more about this. It's going to be on the forefront of people's minds, investors, that maybe never stayed in a property listed on Airbnb are going to be looking at this, Airbnb company and saying, wow, this is a public company. There's a lot of people talking about it. A lot of people compare Airbnb and that startup success story as kind of being like, up there with, Google, Facebook, just kind of revolutionary in the way that they were able to raise and start this company. So it's going to be something that maybe more people talk about. Maybe people from a different demographic might be looking at this. People are going to be, again, talking about it, which may make them more inclined to stay at a property. So it really might just be solidifying the Airbnb properties as opposed to short-term rentals in people's mindset. So question of the day, are you going to be investing into Airbnb? Leave it in the comments section down below. And until next time, Host Nation, keep on hosting. If you'd like John and I to answer your guys' questions, then be sure to go to the Host Nation Facebook group and use hashtag AskVRM. Hope you hosts found value in this episode. If you did, please go on over to iTunes and leave us a review, as that would greatly support the show. If you'd like to connect with John, the community, and I, then go on over to our Facebook group, The Host Nation. Talk to you hosts in the next episode. Keep on hosting.